Hello, friends. If you are planning to fly in 2026, or if you have a family trip coming up this summer, I need you to stop what you are doing and listen very closely to this broadcast. There are major, sweeping new airline rules that officially went into effect this year across the United States. And the reality is that most senior travelers either have absolutely no idea these changes exist, or they are getting the rules completely wrong. Missing these critical updates will cost you serious, non-refundable money out of your own pocket. On the other hand, some of these newly implemented regulations actually work heavily in your favor, granting you powerful protections and legal rights that the airlines are never going to volunteer to you, simply because informing you about them costs them millions of dollars in potential revenue. Today, I am going through all of it in absolute step-by-step detail. I am going to explain exactly what changed, what you are legally entitled to receive, and the precise words you need to say to airport staff to get the dignified, fair treatment you deserve. Before we dive into the specifics, take a brief moment right now to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell. When airline regulations shift, when the TSA updates its security screening protocols, or when federal travel protections expand, most passengers unfortunately find out at the airport, when they are standing in line and when it is entirely too late to do anything about it. Subscribe now, protect your future travel plans, and let's get straight into the details. Let's start with the absolute biggest, most disruptive airline change of 2026, which is an operational shift that directly affects every single person who flies on Southwest Airlines, one of the largest and most heavily utilized carriers in the entire country. For 52 consecutive years, Southwest operated on a famous, traditional open seating model. You checked in online exactly 24 hours before departure, you received a boarding group letter and a sequence number, and then you lined up at the gate to scramble onto the plane and find the best available seat left over. That system is now completely dead and gone. As of January 27, 2026, Southwest officially abandoned open seating and moved entirely to an assigned seating model. When you book a ticket now on any Southwest flight, you select your specific seat at the time of purchase, just like you would on every other major network airline. For the vast majority of casual travelers, this is simply a minor procedural change in how they buy a ticket. But for seniors specifically, there are two hidden traps you must understand regarding how this new system works in practice. First, if you purchase their cheapest available ticket option, which is called the basic fare, Southwest will not let you choose a seat during the booking process. Instead, they will automatically assign your seat for you when you check in at the airport. Because of how airline algorithms work, that automatically assigned seat is highly likely to be a cramped middle seat located in the very back rows of the airplane. If you are an older traveler who absolutely needs an aisle seat for frequent mobility, or a seat near the front of the cabin for quick deplaning, or extra legroom for a medical condition, the basic fare will not accommodate your physical needs reliably. Second, and this is the vital part that the airlines will never actively publicize, if you need a specific seat location for a legitimate medical or mobility reason, you are legally entitled to receive that exact seat at no extra charge whatsoever under the Federal Air Carrier Access Act. This is not an airline policy that they can change at will. This is strict federal law that applies to every single commercial carrier operating in the United States, including Southwest. If you have a physical condition that requires an aisle seat, a recent knee replacement, a hip issue, a chronic bladder condition requiring frequent and immediate restroom access, or any other documented mobility or medical need, that seat requirement is legally classified as a medical accommodation, not a luxury preference. You do not need to pay a single dollar extra for a premium seat choice or an upgrade fee. What you must do is call the specialized Southwest Accessibility Desk directly after you complete your initial booking. Tell the representative clearly that you are traveling with a medical condition and that you require a specific seat accommodation under the Air Carrier Access Act. They are legally mandated to block that appropriate seat for you at absolutely zero upgrade cost. Do not let them charge you extra for a right you are entitled to receive for free. The second critical thing you need to understand involves the TSA security checkpoint. specifically a powerful screening rule that has actually been actively in place for several years, yet the vast majority of travelers over 75 years old still do not know it exists. If you are 75 years of age or older, you do not have to remove your shoes when you go through airport security screening. The TSA has an explicit written operational protocol that completely exempts passengers aged 75 and older from the standard shoe removal requirement. Furthermore, you are also permitted to keep your light jacket or sweater on while passing through the scanner. The systemic problem is that TSA checkpoints are incredibly chaotic. Lines move at a rapid pace, and busy agents will frequently wave their hands blindly at the conveyor belts and yell out to the entire crowd to take their shoes off and pull their laptops out without looking at who is actually standing in that line. Do not allow the loud noise and the fast pressure of the security checkpoint to force you into doing something you are not legally required to do. When you approach the conveyor belt to place your personal items down, make direct eye contact with the TSA officer and say firmly and clearly that you are over 75 and that you are keeping your shoes on. Remember, you are not asking them for permission, and you do not need to sound hesitant. You are calmly stating a regulatory fact based entirely on their own official agency rules, and the agent will direct you through the scanner accordingly. Additionally, if you have an internal medical device, a metal implant, a hip replacement, a knee replacement, or a pacemaker, and you happen to set off the initial metal detector, you will naturally be directed to a secondary screening area. If this happens, you have the absolute right to request that this secondary physical screening be performed while you are comfortably seated. Simply tell the officer that you have a medical device, you cannot stand with your arms raised over your head for an extended period, and you need to be screened while seated. They are required to bring you a chair immediately. This small adjustment completely preserves your safety, your physical balance, and your personal dignity during a stressful process. The third item on our list is one of the most useful, highly effective, and yet least known logistical tools available for senior travelers, and it costs absolutely nothing. It is officially called the Non-Passenger Escort Pass, though some airline employees simply refer to it as a gate pass. This specialized document allows a designated family member, a trusted friend, or a personal caregiver who is not flying with you to accompany you through the TSA security checkpoint, walk with you all the way to your specific departure gate, and sit with you comfortably until the aircraft begins boarding. This service is entirely free of charge and is available at every single major airport across the United States, issued directly by the individual airlines. To secure one of these passes, you need to follow a very specific set of steps. First, call your airline's customer service or reservations line after you book your flight ticket and state precisely that you are an elderly traveler and that you require a non-passenger escort pass for a companion to assist you to the gate due to mobility or navigation needs. Then, on the actual day of your travel, you and your chosen companion must arrive at the airport check-in counter together well ahead of schedule. Your companion must present a valid government-issued photo identification, such as a Real ID-compliant driver's license or a passport, and the ticket agent will print out a physical pass that looks and functions exactly like a boarding pass, allowing them to clear security legally. They can then help you carry your heavy hand luggage, navigate the crowded terminals, assist you with getting food or using the restroom, and crucially, they can speak directly to the gate agents on your behalf if your flight suffers a sudden delay or a gate change. One highly important operational note to remember is that you must arrive at the airport much earlier than usual when planning to use this service. The ticket agent must manually verify your companion's identity and print the specialized pass, which takes several extra minutes of processing time. This strategy will not work if you arrive at the airport at the absolute last minute. The fourth major rule applies directly to anyone who travels with essential medications, vitamins, or specialized medical supplies. There is an explicit federal regulation that thousands of seniors are throwing money away by ignoring because they do not understand the exceptions to airport security rules. The standard TSA liquid rule, which is the strict 3.4-ounce volume limit for carry-on luggage, does not apply to any medically necessary liquids. This means your liquid insulin, your liquid prescription medications, your saline eye solutions, your specialized liquid supplements, and even your nutritional replacement drinks like Ensure or Glucerna are completely exempt from the standard travel size restrictions. You are fully legally permitted to carry a full-size large bottle of these items directly into the aircraft cabin. The absolute critical step to making this process seamless is declaring these items correctly to the officers the moment you reach the security checkpoint. Do not leave these items buried deep inside your carry-on luggage. Before you even place your bags onto the moving conveyor belt, separate all of your medical liquids entirely and place them into their own separate clear plastic bag. It does not have to be a small quart-sized bag. Any clear, accessible plastic bag works perfectly fine. When you lay that bag onto the security tray, look directly at the TSA officer and say the exact phrase that you are declaring these as medically necessary liquids. The word declaring is incredibly important because it instantly triggers a specific, standardized legal exemption protocol for the officer. The TSA agent will take your items, run them through a specialized chemical scanner, and they may wave a testing strip over the top of opened bottles to check for safety. This is standard procedure, so do not be alarmed. They are merely verifying safety, not trying to confiscate your necessary property. On a related note regarding insulin, if you travel with gel ice packs to keep your insulin cool, those ice packs must be frozen completely solid when you present them to the TSA. If the ice packs are partially melted, slushy, or turned into liquid water, the TSA agents can legally classify them as standard liquids and confiscate them on the spot. Make sure you freeze them rock hard before you leave your house. The fifth and final tool is an incredible free digital pass designed specifically for international travelers that almost no one over the age of 60 is currently taking advantage of. If you have ever traveled outside of the country and returned home to the United States, you know exactly how exhausting and draining the customs hall can be. You often land after a grueling 10-hour flight, only to face hundreds of tired people waiting in a massive, slow-moving immigration line that can easily take 60 to 90 minutes or more just to speak with an officer. To bypass this entire nightmare completely for free, you do not need to pay $100 for global entry. You do not need to fill out background checks, and you do not need to wait months for an in-person interview. All you need to do is download an official free smartphone application called Mobile Passport Control. This is a legitimate, secure app created and managed directly by United States Customs and Border Protection. You simply download the app onto your phone before you depart on your trip, and you set up your basic profile by securely scanning your physical passport page. That is all the advanced setup that is required. When your international flight finally lands back on American soil, while the airplane is still taxiing on the runway toward the gate, you open up the app, answer the standard digital customs declaration questions, and hit the submit button. The application will instantly generate a secure personal QR code on your phone screen. When you walk into the massive customs hall, instead of joining the primary, exhausting main line, you look for the dedicated, brightly marked lane that says Mobile Passport Control. This specific lane is almost always entirely empty or has only a few tech-savvy travelers in it. You simply walk straight up to the officer, show them your passport, let them scan the QR code on your phone, and you are finished. People routinely walk past hour-long lines and exit the airport in under 10 minutes using this free government app. It is completely separate from global entry. It requires no advanced approval, and it costs absolutely nothing. If you travel internationally even once a year, you need to download this app before your next flight. When you look at the entire picture for 2026, the landscape of air travel has shifted dramatically, but you now have the exact knowledge required to navigate it safely and affordably. Southwest Airlines' open seating model is officially gone as of January 27, 2026. And if you need a specific seat location for any valid medical or mobility reason, you are legally entitled to receive it completely free of charge under federal law by contacting their specialized accessibility desk, regardless of how cheap your ticket fare was. If you are 75 years of age or older, you do not have to take your shoes off at the security checkpoint. State that regulatory fact clearly to the agent and move through comfortably. The non-passenger escort pass allows a family member or a caregiver to clear security and walk you directly to your departure gate for free. provided you call the airline ahead of time to set up the request. All of your medical liquids and nutritional drinks are fully exempt from the tiny 3.4-ounce liquid rule, so long as you separate them and use the specific word declaring when you hand them to the TSA officers. Finally, the Mobile Passport Control app is a completely free, government-approved tool that allows you to bypass the massive customs lines in minutes after returning from an international vacation. Major commercial airlines maximize their corporate profits when passengers remain completely unaware of their legal rights and standard airport exemptions. Now you know the exact rules, you know the federal laws, and you have the precise scripts to protect your health, your wallet, and your peace of mind this year. Share this vital information right now with a friend, a neighbor, or a family member who has a flight coming up. Subscribe to the channel for continuous travel updates, and I will see you all in the very next update.